All right, so today I want to talk to you about rates. People talk a lot of noise about rates, and I say noise because that's exactly what it is. It's a whole lot of noise. You have truck drivers and you have freight brokers that's talking a lot of noise about freight rates, what they go and sell rates at, what they're going to shippers at, but nobody is really talking to you, telling you exactly what the real business is. And if they're talking, they're not showing you any documentation to prove what it is that they're saying. Right? So when it comes to rates, I think rates are a really important part of the game. It's an important part of trucking, important part of the freight broker business. And if you can get the rate game right, you can win. If you can't, then you won't. But I want you to understand that most people are simply talking. It's a chatterbox out here. And people talk about what they're doing, but they're not showing you much of anything at all. So what we decided to do was about a year ago, I said, okay, Brandon reveals freight rates. Check the video out. I'm going to put it up here somewhere. You'll be able to go and click on that video and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But you'll have truck drivers and freight brokers that come out and talk crap about your rates. They'll say, oh, okay, well, those rates are so low. There's no way I would move my truck for those rates, right? And they're just talking because, you know, if they tell you they're getting $5 and $6 a mile in a lane, some of them might be getting that, but most of them, 99% of them are not getting what they're saying they're getting in those lanes. At least not consistently. You don't consistently get great rates. Think about that. If we always got great rates, there would be no argument. If you always got $5, $6 per mile in a lane, everybody would be happy. But that's not how the business works. Sometimes lane dynamics change. Certain things that are going on in the lane are going to cause rates to go down. Certain economic conditions are going to start to cause rates to go down. That's the business we've chosen, right? So what we decided to do was make a video and not only talk about the rates, but show you actual documentation, show you the tenders where it proved what shippers were paying us in those lanes, right? And the purpose of that was so that you can get a real idea of what people are really going to shippers at, what shippers are really paying in these lanes. Because I hear people talking. I hear people talk a whole lot about freight rates, but when you look at the people who are doing videos out here about the freight broker business, about trucking, you never see any documents. Now, I'm sure there are some truck drivers out there that they might show you what they're getting paid in lanes. But freight brokers, the freight brokers that are doing videos on here, 9 out of 10 of them cannot show you anything about how much they're being paid in lanes. And do you know what the reason is for that? It's because they're not being paid in those lanes. They're not going to shippers and getting rates in those lanes. They're just talking about it. You see, one of the easiest things to do is for someone to come on and talk about what it is that they do, but they don't show you much of anything. So what that tells me is that they are probably more likely than not, they're not doing it, right? Because this is about, if you're doing it, you're going to show what it is that you're doing. So that's why we showed you the rates. We showed you the rates in specific lanes so you can get a better understanding. And what I want you to understand as freight brokers, as truck drivers, especially as freight brokers, don't concern yourself with what somebody is saying about your freight rates. Don't concern yourself with what truck drivers are saying about your freight rates. Truck drivers, don't concern yourself with what other truck drivers are saying about rates, right? Because at the end of the day, you decide if you're a truck driver to move your truck for a certain number or not. It is totally your decision. Nobody forces you into anything. And if you feel like your truck has more value, if you feel like you are worth more than you're being paid, why do you wait for freight brokers to go to shippers? Why don't you go to the shippers direct and negotiate your own pricing? Well, the reason why you don't do that is because you know that's the hardest part of this business. Going in and negotiating with shippers, trying to get them to do business with you. Not even the negotiating part, you got to get them to want to work with you first. But that's the hard part. That's why you leave that up to freight brokers, because you don't want to deal with that. So since you don't worry yourself about trying to scrutinize what it is that a freight broker is doing. Don't scrutinize a freight broker, do it on your own. Do your own work, and you don't have to worry about complaining about what it is someone else is not doing that you think they should be doing. It's not a game where shippers just say, oh, okay, well, we're going to pay you. You want $5 in that lane? We're going to pay you $5 per mile in that lane. right? No, it doesn't work like that. This is a competitive game, right? If you go into shippers and your numbers are out of the ballpark, I can promise you, you're not going to get that lane. So when people start talking, just accept that as talk. That's what it is 99% of the time. People are just talking. When freight brokers see my rates, or when truckers see my rates, they come in and they say, oh, okay, I wouldn't move my truck for that number. Okay, I get it. But see, I'm not asking you to move your truck for the number, right? You decide whether or not you want to move a load. I don't force anybody to do anything, but when it comes down to going to shippers, you have to be priced at a competitive price in order to get the lane. That's how it works, because the competition is stiff. And not only that, there's a certain value put on trucking assets, right? And the market determines what that value is. Now, I'm not telling you as a freight broker to go in and price loads at bottom line prices. I don't advocate for that. But what I do say is that as a new freight broker or as a seasoned freight broker, you are competing against other freight brokers. And it's just not about going in and put whatever number you want to put on a lane. You have to put the numbers that are actually going to allow for you to win. That's it. Bottom line. And if you don't do that, I can pretty much guarantee you're not going to get the lane. There are going to be times when you're going to be able to get more in lanes, right? Because certain times when, freight is moving good, when there is not a whole lot of trucks in certain lanes, they are going to give you more money for those lanes. You're going to be able to price those lanes higher, right? But you get out of this thinking that every lane you're going into, you're going to be getting $3, $4, $5, $6 per mile. It's not going to happen. That's not the business that we're in. The freight broker business, the trucking business, is a highly competitive space. In order for you to compete within that space, in order for you to win within that space, you have to be priced so that you can win. So don't worry yourself, at least I don't. I don't concern myself at all with what people are talking about, because I realize, I understand that they're just talking. That's what I wanted to share with you today. I certainly hope this information has been helpful. If you want to learn more about the freight broker business, those rates that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to leave a free video right here that shows you. Brandon reveals the freight rates. You can check it out and call it whatever you want. Learn from what it is that we do. Learn from our rates. Maybe you can go in and get higher rates, but we're going to leave that video right here for you. And also, if you want to learn more about how we go out and get the shippers that we get, we're going to leave that video right here as well. So until the next time, I wish you the very best in your life and business. See you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.